Coach, can you start with an update on Mike Hoffman?
Oh, he was sick. He's under the weather. So that's it. So we'll see tomorrow.
Okay. Ben Harper?
Oh, no, he's out for a while. Yeah. Yeah, he's upper body, shoulder. How's that?
Okay. Any news from home on Erik Karlsson?
Not yet. So, they're doing their thing down there. And I have to wait and get some information on him and Oduya, where they're at. They're both highly doubtful for tomorrow. But you never know. Might get a call and they're on a plane and they're here, so I don't know.
Did they skate today, though, Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're skating and they're going hard, and so that's where I'm waiting to see the results of that today.
And just on Harper and his shoulder, is that a surgery situation?
No,
or just
no, some weeks.
week to week?
Yeah, week to week, yeah.
Okay.
It'd be emotional for Alex Burrows coming back here. What before you got him last year? What was your experience with him, and what was your impression of him? And how has he been?
I had him at the World Championships, so I knew what he was, and he'd, it's from the outside. He had let's say a disrupting reputation, but once you have him on your team, it's the absolute opposite. It's one of the best people you'll ever meet, and he's an outstanding leader. And you could see with our guys already last year. Of course, when you come in, you're not exactly yourself. You're parts of yourself, but those parts were really important for us last year in our push. Him and Stallberg came in, and we had Wingles, and all three were character guys that had a lot of experience and some success and were important on their teams, and it made a huge difference for us as a pack. But him individually was definitely one of those guys that, like, he could be a coach one day. Like, he's one of those guys. He thinks the game. He knows what's coming. He's terrific with the young guys to help them. He's able to calm guys around. Like, it's a special person. He really is. So for us, it's what we were looking for. We needed more, especially in the absence of MacArthur, who was one of those guys that was so big in our room, and we were missing him. And we had a lot of younger guys, which this year, the Stones and the Tourist guys, they were able this year to take another step, because last year they benefited from not just our run, but from guys like Burrows coming in and knowing what's what and helping everybody with the details to win, the winning details.
Are you able to discuss your roster for tomorrow? Thomas Chabot in, up front, any changes?
Right now, we're debating if we're going 7-11 or we're going, 6 defensemen, and who is it, and the top 4 lines. So we'll decide that after warm-up. And also, we need to find out what's happening back home. If we're getting a D back, if we're not getting a D back, if we're getting 2 Ds back, that'll have all an impact on my decisions for tomorrow. So I have to wait and see.
How do you
Goaltender?
Go
ahead. Yes.
Starting goaltender tomorrow?
Oh, it's Anderson.
How do you deal with that adversity on defense? You've had to.
Well, the first thing is you have to. You can't kid yourself. Like the last 2 games, we knew it was going to be tough without Eric. If you take McDavid out of Edmonton, and if you take Crosby out, and like those guys have such an impact. But Eric's even more than those guys, because we're talking about sometimes 30 minutes a game. And it's not just, the forward attacking no, it's the breakouts, it's the transition starts with the D, it's the O-zone straddling the blue line, it's the power play, it's the way you defend, it's the gap, it's everything. And, that's why a high-end defenseman like that impacts everything. It even impacts the goaltending part, because, there's such a confidence factor there. So that's gigantic for us. So we know it's a gigantic hole, but it's one guy, Oduya, that's our top 2 guys gone. And after the first 2 periods of the first game, you saw Oduya come down. Of course, you're playing Washington. We were leading 3-1. Probably would have helped us keep that lead to have those 2 guys. Maybe we'd have a bigger lead with those 2 guys. But we're aware of that. But we're able to play a good game, a 4-4 game. Finished the game, and our 5 guys, they did what they could. They were dead, but a lot of those guys were playing in slots that they're not used to. So we can do that for a little while, but you can't do that forever. And then the game after that, we bring Harper up, and then we finally see the real Harper. He's playing really good, and we're playing a solid game, and then he's out before the end of the second period. So, that was a tough third period again. The same guys having to go through 5 defensemen for the entire period. It's tough. So there's the numbers. And there's also I wouldn't say the quality, but what those guys can handle. So the adversity comes from the fact that you're asking guys to do things that they're not used to doing, and for many minutes. And now we need those young defensemen to come in and log minutes, not change. Come here and make a gigantic difference. The big difference that we need now is we need the other 5 guys to be able to breathe a little bit, to be able to do what they can do when we don't normally play with 6 guys, and that's what those young guys are going to have to come and help us with.
You know, I think when you sent Chabot down, Guy, I don't think the idea was to have him up here.
No.
Like the first weekend.
No, it was not. It's circumstances now have pushed us, and even with the Arrows, like, we love him. You know that. He's played terrific. He's surprised a lot of people. He didn't surprise us because we'd seen him. I mean, those are going to be NHL players. Like, they are, period. It's just a matter of time. That's why we know we want to groom them well. We want to put them in a situation they can handle. The reality is that's right now it's way faster. We wanted them to get the reps down there and really start to feel comfortable with the pro game. You know, and Chabot's been night and day with last year in terms of his attitude, and because now you can feel that he's really it's the verge of being a pro. And the first thing he said when he came in here, I want to watch video of managing the puck in my zone. Like, so he knows exactly where it's at for him, and he wants to learn it fast. And I've heard down there he's been a real pro, so he knows what he needs to do, what he needs to learn. He wants to accelerate the process, but he's also aware that he needs those minutes down there, and he's been a real pro about it. And Yaros has played with men before, so those 2 guys are coming in. They're terrific prospects for us, but we cannot expect those guys to come in and replace the minutes that a Carlson will give you, that a Nduya will give you. We need to put them in situations as much as we can that they can handle.
What do you want Chabot to be like now that he's here and kind of had his quick lesson in the minors, I guess?
Well, if you look at the last 2 games he had played, it's all about managing the game. That's what the pro game is. And yeah, you could talk about size and all that, but really it's when to pinch, when not to pinch, when to jump into the play, when not to. You look at the clock, you look at the score, not throw pucks away in the D zone when we're being pressured. Those are the small things that all these pros that I named before, whether it's Weber having to go in the American League, or it's Yossi playing an entire year in the American League, or it's Burns playing 2 years in the American League, or Duncan Keith playing 2 years in the American League. Like, that's what they did. They went down and learned those things because the NHL is a performance league. It's not a development league. And so we think that this kid can learn it fast, but how fast, I can't tell you that. It really is him. And we can't compare him to any of the other names I named because it's him. But right now the problem is circumstances have forced us to bring him in faster than we would have liked. Not because we don't like him, we love him, but we want him to grow at the right rate with pressure that he can take, and that's why we sent him down there.